I'm just having another random stream of consciousness as I'm going to get some food. Okay, this one's going to be about politics. You know, I don't understand or know why black people are so heavily invested in the Democratic Party or just politics in general. You know, I never have any black people that always talk about, you know, getting involved and how, you know, people need to be involved. I never have them, you know, discuss politics before, you know, the election, especially like local politics. Now, I don't live in a predominantly black community, so that may be why, you know, as it pertains to that. But I don't even hear any, like, you don't hear the buzz. Like, I don't have to live there to hear the buzz. But you don't hear the buzz. You don't hear people talking about that. You don't hear people talking about how we got to get, you know, a black sheriff and, you know, or we have to get, you know, a black, you know, mayor in, like the places that have black mayors have had black mayors for a very long time. But, you know, it's just, there's always this constant fear mongering when it comes to black people and them voting. Don't vote for the other guy because the other guy is racist. Or vote for me because the other guy is racist. Forget tangibles, you know, forget reconciling with the past and, you know, what has been done to, you know, to black people, right? Whether it's the residual effects of slavery, you know, Jim Crow. You know, as I try to tell people who try to act like, you know, Jim Crow, you know, was, you know, ancient Roman history. I'm like, my father was born in American apartheid. Let's call it what it is. My father was born underneath American apartheid. When he was born, you couldn't sit on, you know, such and such a park bench. You couldn't drink from a particular water fountain. This is my father. My father. This isn't ancient history. And then when you go into the economics of it, you know, the denial of, you know, living in particular places. Y'all seen the black female lawyer with the artiste? I'm not going to go into the role reversal and the you know, all the discussions everybody wants to have about swirling and women dating down. We can have that discussion another day, because honestly, you know, what happened to her has nothing to do with who she chose and who she got with. You know, it's the ugly reality of being black in America. You know, which is why I resent, you know, that chick from Tanzania writing that article who's not ADOS, you know, talking about how, you know, black people just need to, you know, just mentally not be victims, and that somehow magically makes them not victims. And here you have, you know, a modern day current, you know, just happened last week example, you know, of a woman who went off and, you know, she bought a home with her and her husband and has a biracial kid. And, you know, they went to get the house appraised and they got lowballed. And then she removed all of the blackness from the house, all of her pictures, you know, the picture of her, you know, just all signs of that she and her mixed child even live in the house. And all of a sudden, she got $100,000 difference. You know, and that has been going on for a long time. So you can think about all of the wealth that, you know, black people have lost. I mean, again, you know, when you're talking about what black people are owed, you're not just talking about, you know, what they're owed from slavery and Jim Crow and whatnot. Like, you're talking about what they're owed, like not just the punitive, you know, amount, you know, for, you know, black people's pain and suffering, but also that the amount where even when black people are doing the right thing, you have these subtle, like, it's just like a black tax. You have this subtle, you know, aspects of where, you know, you're just losing money just for being black. You know, like in modern times, it's not even Jim Crow or slavery. It's just like there's just this constant, like, this black tax that exists. All right. And, you know, I watch the news, which is really, it's really not the news. It's biased, party supported, news networks, whether it's Fox News or MSNBC and CNN. MSNBC and CNN, we already know that's Democrat. I mean, I never saw this growing up. Like, it didn't click with me when conservatives used to say the liberal media. Oh, but it clicks with me now. Now I see it. And in Fox News, I don't know how, like, I could see that Fox News clearly had a bias, but I couldn't see that CNN or MSNBC had a bias. I thought they were clearly objective, and maybe they were more objective when I was younger, but now they're blatantly not, objective. Like, now it's just blatant. And again, I look at they talk about Donald Trump being intellectually dishonest, and I look at the intellectual dishonesty on the part of the Democrats. You talk about guns and self-defense, they start making stuff up, fully semi-automatic. You start making stuff up, conflating terms, making guns seem like they're the scariest thing in the world. Writing articles and pieces about, and police officers found a loaded gun, a loaded assembled AR-15. Like, these are the type of terms that they use. Assembled. Like, what other configuration is it supposed to be in? Of course it's supposed to be assembled. Of course it's supposed to be loaded. And it had a scope on it. Ooh, Again, for the firearms uninitiated, I guess that's big and scary and whatnot, right? And they gaslight on the gun issue. And then, let black people demand some tangibles. They'll gaslight black people on that. And then all of a sudden, they start sounding a whole lot like conservatives. You start talking about, what black people are owed, or you start talking about tangibles, not just this acknowledgement of, racism in the past. Like, that's what the liberals do. They'll sit there, we acknowledge racism. Yeah, we'll acknowledge it, but we ain't about to do anything to rectify any of this stuff. No tangibles. They'll give you the symbolism. Oh yeah, they'll give you the symbolism and, talk about, all, tides rise, all boats. I'm so sick of nothing being specific to the black community. It's insane. Even now, all this talk about we and all that stuff. How can you sit there and listen to somebody talk about we when it's never really we? Like, I mean, how many decades does that have to go on for before black people get it? And I'm saying black people are still out here talking about, we got to vote for the Democrats. They still don't want to accept the ugly reality that America is racist, and all these white people that came out the woodwork with their racist bullshit, they've been here, and that's how they are. And you would think that there would be a lot more black people who would take a militant position and, just focus on, us having to deal with the situation however we can deal with the situation, you know what I mean, and protect ourselves, because that's all you can do. In an asshole nation, that America is towards black people and been. Either that or start talking about going elsewhere and whatnot, right? But you got the people who feel like black people shed too much blood for America, so we're not going anywhere. And, they have their own, sense of, appropriate entitlement to, being a black American. I get it. But, I was, watching MSNBC again, right? And it's just like the shit that I noticed. Like, first off, I'm just gonna say it. Is MSNBC like where you go to see bald-headed black women? Why is it every black woman on MSNBC got a bald head? I mean, there's so many bald-headed bitches on there. It's insane. You know what I'm saying? Not even like big, fluffy, voluptuous afro. Like, no. Like, they all look like, a bunch of LGBT women, right? Or masculine women. Then you get the men up there, and they're always dressed like Kevin Samuels. Again, I know everybody was attacking Kev and saying that he was gay, and I'm saying just notice the whole thing, right? So the only way you can be a masculine black man, like, people will try to figure out why I posted that picture of Shannon Sharp, because that was a masculine, dark-skinned black man image that we don't see. He's not compromising. And I'm sure, again, he works for a network, freaking Sports Center and all that shit. You know what I mean? So obviously, it's not like he can just go and do whatever and say whatever he wants. But I'm saying, to the degree in which he can hold his own, he holds his own, and I respect that. You see, but you do not see other black men on daytime television that have the aura and carry themselves like Shannon Sharpe. Even if they're wearing a suit, it's just that there's a flamboyancy, there's a sweetness, there's a moistness, that we see. So I turn on MSNBC, the enclave of the Democratic Party, and I get butch, masculine, LGBT, shaved head black women, and I get a bunch of moist ass black men. That's what I get. I get role reverse. What's crazy is, I don't want to sleep with any of the women I see on MSNBC. And I highly doubt that any of the black men that you see on MSNBC, any black women across America, are particularly interested in sleeping with. Those men are not sexually desirable to them. And then the only black men that are sexually desirable, are the ones that are a byproduct of prolonged exposure to poverty and are basically outcast to the system, which are street dudes, right? And sometimes I get it with all the moist ass energy that I see up there on MSNBC and CNN. Oh, I totally get it. And this is how the shit is portrayed. I say again, as a heteronormative, cisgendered, masculine black man, I don't see what the Democratic Party has to offer. You know what I'm saying? This idea that black people should just go out and vote and not demand anything is insane to me. That we should go out here and do the same nonsensical bullshit that our parents and our grandparents did. I don't know what the game plan is. I approach the world like the same way that Dr. Hendrik Clark looked at it. We don't have no friends. And that's how you got to treat it. You know what I mean? This isn't about, sitting there and begging. That's what black people look like. A bunch of beggars, which is the irony, because they don't even know what to beg for. They don't even know what to make demands about when it comes to the Democratic Party. As opposed to, actually having the Democratic Party come to us and say, well, them black people, they're not going to vote for us if we don't come with something. But see, they can come with symbolism, gestures, acknowledgments of racism, and that's good enough for most black people. And I hate to say it, but unfortunately, we got a disproportionate population of black people who are not well versed or educated. It's all feelings and emotions. Day's racist. No, cohesive anything. Not voting as a block. Everybody else I see voting as a block. They have enough people where they say, this is how we're going to vote. Like, black people, they're just predictable with their vote. They act like there's actually a Democratic block, of black people. But no, you're going to vote like that every single time because that's what you do. And you don't make any demands. Even if you make demands, it doesn't matter. They don't have to answer your demands, because whether they meet your demands or not, you're still going to vote for them, in the next 4 years or the next election. You're predictable. And as long as you're predictable, nobody has to cater to your needs. Because you don't stand up for yourself, so why does anybody need to respect you or acknowledge you? You're nobody. You vote like a nobody. You vote like you don't care about yourself. And then you sit around and wonder why you get disrespected. When somebody they got to come with some real shit when they go to other people, but when it comes to us, ain't no tangibles. No, we can just go up there and talk about the racist divide and how Trump is creating a divided America. You cannot divide that which is already divided. Like when they go up there and talk about Trump is dividing America, I'm like, these white folks already didn't fuck with you. They already don't fuck with you. So how did Trump come in there and divide some shit? Did he embolden people? Did he make people feel more comfortable? You know, to come out, you know, with that racism. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know why black people, you know, sit there and even tolerate that shit. I'm like, let that Smith and Wesson make them feel uncomfortable. You know, just like with that white boy that you saw that shot the you know, that guy that was fucking with him and whatnot and all. It's funny because the people on the right, they love to sit there and talk about how the left is full of a bunch of fairies and pansies and soy boys and beta males and all this other shit. And I look at the shit like, well, you was fucking with the wrong one. You know, it's the same as when I see these white people running out here dropping the N-word, you know, calling black people niggas and all type of shit. And I'm like, you know, eventually you're gonna come across the wrong one. Right? You know, white people, they love to say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, as black people, you know, we got our own phrase. You was looking for it and you found it. He was looking for it and he found it. I don't understand all this shit going out there and being armed and, you know, with the protesters. Like, that's just a bad cocktail. I don't understand people who go out here and, you know, they get so in their feelings, you know, that they put themselves in a situation where there'll be an altercation like that. You know, the wild thing is that you know, it's like YouTube does all of its censorship and all these other, you know, social media platforms. They do all this censorship and getting people off you know, off the, what do you call that? Off, you know, the internet, right? And then so people take it to the streets, right? But I guess they're like, oh, well, we don't have anything to do with that. You know, it's better for conversations to be had on the internet than for, you know, no conversations to be had on the internet, and then people go out there into the streets and take it into their own hands. But I'm just frustrated, you know, at just, you know, the black community as a whole. You know, I'm not even talking about all the other cultural stuff and, you know, how everybody embraces the streets and all that shit, right? Because I know what that comes from, right? Prolonged exposure to poverty. You know, the white people, they want to sit there and they have nothing to do with that. You know, they keep wanting to make the claim that the black community somehow started in the mid 80s. And I'm like, but what about all the stuff that came before that created the conditions that, you know, took off, you know, in the late 80s with the crack era? I mean, you're talking about generations of just brokenness that was facilitated by the system of white supremacy, regardless of whether it's red or blue. White supremacy doesn't have a political color. You know, the religion of white supremacy doesn't have a political affiliation. You know, I was watching some video where they're, yet again, just like I was talking about the bears pacing at the zoo, animals pacing at the zoo and showing, you know, what is it, typical neurotic behavior, right? I was watching some video. I don't know how I got over there on YouTube, but the randomness of the YouTube algorithms took me to some shit where some whale at SeaWorld, some orca, you know, killed one of the divers and whatnot. And you just see the comment section. Well, that orca is not in its natural environment. You know, you can't blame the orca for killing the whatever, the freaking whale instructor or whatever, because it's not in its natural environment, right? But somehow that doesn't apply to black people who have been disproportionately, you know, brought here as slaves, disproportionately put in the conditions of poverty, generationally. And then when you see all the social dysfunction, white people go, oh, we ain't got nothing to do with that. We got nothing to do with that. Personal responsibility, and, you know, that's just black people's culture. That's just how they are, right? But when we go over talking about animals at the zoo, bears, wolves, tigers, right? And they start doing some abnormal shit, or, gorillas, whatever animal you want to talk about at the zoo, and they go off and they, kill somebody or hurt somebody or start attacking each other, first thing out of these people's mouths, these animal lovers' mouths is, well, they're not in their natural environment. But you can take a race of people and put them in an unnatural environment and then say they're just like that. Like, fuck out of here, man. But this is the internet. This is the community. This is politics. And I could make this video longer and dive into all the role reversal and all that stuff. But I've done that a million times. Y'all know how I feel about that. But it's just crazy. Like, people act like this is normal. Like they act like, this is just normal. The women, we got to make sure Biden gets in, and why? Like what? Like why? And the thing is like, let me say this: I would much rather the women that talk this, like the black women that are on MSNBC and CNN, like say that they're focused on, they're just focused on women. Like, stop saying black people, like that shit includes black men, or like there's anything set up or something for black men and boys. Like, just stop using the general term black people when you're really just talking about black women, right? I mean, even black women, heteronormative cisgender black women get caught up with this. These women are talking about LGBT and whatnot, and they'll sit there and they'll say black people, thinking that it includes both heteronormative black men and women, and it really doesn't. It'll more readily include, heteronormative cisgendered black women before it includes black men. But I'm saying, like, they're throwing up these smoke and mirrors, and everybody just lets them. And then whatever happens, whatever is, unfolds, like it's not designed to benefit black people as a whole. So when you look at the results and the Democrats are like, oh, well, we did, those that support us and everything. So you got black people up there voting for agendas that have nothing to do with the collective of black people, let alone, the specific, heteronormative genders. And I'm like, again, these are the people that procreate. These are the people that reproduce. How do you not put heteronormative people first? How does that not go first and then say, we're trying to do something for the black community, when those are the only people that procreate and create the next generation of black people and raise nuclear families and households, which are the fundamental unit of any community? How is that not your focus? And yet you got all this alternative shit and people are sitting there acting like that is the community. Like, that shit blows my mind, just sitting there listening to this stuff. And I don't know how anybody doesn't see it. They're like, nothing is going to change. There's going to be no significant change. And I just don't see the point. Black people, we're the backbone of the Democratic Party, all that stuff. And I don't see the point in continuing to vote for them without any tangibles, without any real change, without any real effective policies put in place, written and designed by black people for black people. Right? And you know how everybody else is going to do, which is why, Bill Burr's, whole skit was just brilliant. I said the same thing. I'm like, white women up there, bitch. I'm like, bitch, you sleep next to power. Like, fuck are you talking about? All the hijacking, like this, it's so crazy. LGBT, they come in and they hijack the black people. And then white women come through and then hijack the LGBT and black people. And then other groups come in and then hijack all of that. Like I said, with the all this stuff with the Yale being sued because it's discriminating against whites and Asians, and I'm like, and Asians couldn't go to Yale before 1965 because of the Chinese Exclusion Act, right? Which, let's face it, they didn't really care about what type of Asian, right? And then not only that, I'm like, and where are the white people and where are the Asian people being denied entry into HBCUs? When did they apply to Howard or Lincoln, you know what I'm saying, and not get accepted? Where did this go on? You see? But yet, you know, all these other groups, you know, that got here yesterday, you know, or got here 20 years ago, you know, they got their hand out. And then black people are kicked to the back of the line. And yet and still, you got black people running around saying, we love the Democratic Party. Joe Biden is our man. Bernie Sanders is our man. Pocahontas is our woman. Hillary Clinton is our woman. It's just nuts. You know, and Donald Trump is so out of his mind. You know, like I said before, you see, you know, people talk all the shit they want about Kim Kardashian, but she getting people out of prison and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like again, like, it's like the smart thing to do would be sit there and Donald Trump is a you know, narcissistic, you know, megalomaniac, whatever. I'm saying the smart thing to do is stroke his ego. Oh, Donald Trump, you are the best. Oh, black people, we love Donald Trump. Hey, Donald Trump, you mind if we could get some, you know, something over here, you know, since we love you so much, you know, since we support you so much, you know, you mind if you think Donald Trump gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump wants some head. You know what I'm saying? Like, Donald Trump wants his ego stroked. You stroke that ego, you swallow your pride, you stroke that ego, you probably get some shit from him. Because the stuff that black people have got from him, like the increase in HBCU funding, you know, I'm like this, like, in other words, you can say what you want about his rhetoric and all that other stuff. And I agree 100% with people about how foul his rhetoric is as it pertains to black people and law and order and everything else like that. But in terms of when stuff hits his desk that pertains to, you know, black people and helping out the black community and whatnot, I'm like, he's signing bills and shit. He's signing policies. You see what I'm saying? But then, you know, when it comes to, you know, the racist stuff that everybody's claiming, I'm like, okay, give me one specific racist policy that Donald Trump has signed into law or something. Give me something, an executive order, something. Give me something. Okay. Again, I'm acknowledging I don't know. Maybe you know more than I do, but I'm saying give me something. You see? And again, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. You know, the man is all for self. And even the people on the right are recognizing that. He's loyal to no one. And I'm like, good. Use that to your advantage, black people. He's loyal to no one. You know, but instead, you know, black people go out there. I mean, even the NRA had to tiptoe around Donald Trump. You know, because of the whole what did they have to tiptoe around? The bump stock ban. The conservative right, oh, they were flipping out about the bump stocks being banned and all that stuff. They were flipping out about that. And they were like, screw the NRA. And they were turning their back on the NRA because the NRA wasn't going after Trump. But the NRA wasn't stupid. They know that Donald Trump is a sensitive ass child. They knew if they went there and they went after Donald Trump, that Donald Trump, just like he did the FBI and just like he did the CIA when it came to investigating him, Donald Trump would quickly turn on the NRA. He would quickly go out there and say something like, yeah, I think the NRA needs to be, you know, dismantled and all that other stuff. Saying a whole bunch of stuff, you know, yeah, I think we need to, you know, take the guns and then due process, right? That totally goes against the Second Amendment community. You see? But, you know, what did the NRA do? They regrouped. You know, they just had like an interview with him. You know, and I mean, Reno, what's his name? Reno May? You know, he did a video on it. And I mean, the whole damn thing sounds like I mean, it's very homoerotic when you listen to it. And I sat there and looked Donald Trump looked me in the eyes, and our eyes connected. Like, it's very homoerotic. Like he did a video on it just recently. If you go on the Reno May's page and you go back like one or two videos or something like that, it might be the last video, but he was talking about this interview that the NRA had with Donald Trump, and the piece that was written about it, very, very homoerotic. Okay, but again, that's the NRA stroking Donald Trump. Okay, the man is a narcissist. And so, look, I'm not telling black people what to do or how to vote or whatever. All I'm saying is, we are just absolutely not organized. We got the wrong people speaking. I mean, where are the black academics? You know what I'm saying? Where are the true, IQ, in the like 110 or higher, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are these black people, who really know what's going on, preferably younger black people and not the black olders who have already failed us. You know what I'm saying? But where are these true intellectuals, right? Why do we have all these, social media voices and stuff, arguably including myself, that get to go up on television and speak on the issue instead of them actually, celebrities and shit like that. Oh, let's ask Snoop Dogg. Oh, let's ask T.I. You know what I mean? Like, really? That's where you get your politics again, going back to the, get your booty on the pole, all that crap, or get your booty to the pole. That's what they say. Get your booty to the pole. That's what this party thinks about you. And y'all still gonna go out there and support this hot mess. Look, at some point, black people are going to have to put their foot down, and it's going to hurt. You may have to quote unquote suffer, which I don't even understand, like, what you'd be losing that black people already haven't lost, but you're going to have to quote unquote suffer for an election cycle. Because the biggest problem with the Democratic Party is the Democratic Party is not self-reflective. They're not self-reflective. You know what I mean? Like it does, like, they'll lose an election, they'll lose seats on, let's say, the gun control issue, and then they'll still be up there pushing gun control. I'm like, did you not see how many seats you just lost? Like, I'm interested to see what happens with this election with all the new gun owners that came up because they're so worried about civil unrest and all this defund the police stuff, right? We got insane number of gun owners, and black people are at the top in terms of percentage wise. Like, we are at the top of gun owners, which I'm happy and proud of. Okay, at the top. So black people are taking, initiative when it comes to their own self-protection and realizing, like Dr. Hendrik Clark said, we are on our own. Okay, so that's a beautiful thing. But I'm saying, I want to see what happens if they lose the election. Are they going to drop gun control for the next election? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to finally drop it? And then so now we can now again, my own right to personal self-defense is not, I don't have to worry about that being infringed on. And then we can get to the meat and the potatoes of some bigger, more relevant issues. Right? Because as I said before, like, the whole thing with gun control and gun rights, like, that's a bipartisan issue. That should not be I gotta choose, I gotta become a one issue voter because I want to be able to protect myself. Like, that's dumb. I gotta become a one issue voter just to be able to protect myself. But like, I look at the two parties, like, they're just so anti, for the sake of being anti with this 2-party system. It's like, conservative, what are you about? Oh, I'm about this. Liberal, what are you about? Oh, what is he about? Okay, I'm about the opposite. Liberal, what are you about? Oh, I'm about this. Conservative, what are you about? Well, what is he about? Oh, he's about this. Oh, well, I'm about the opposite. I'm like, okay, so y'all just, the whole thing, I mean, talk about red versus blue, Sith versus the Jedi, hot versus cold. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's what this shit is looking like. I'm like, so there are no bipartisan issues. In every issue that's going to be a bipartisan issue, it's never a bipartisan issue because each side tries to attach something that's partisan to a bipartisan issue in order to get the partisan issue through the door. I'm like, okay, so basically you're telling me that America as a government doesn't work. That's what you're telling me. It doesn't work. And again, black people, like, we're just along for the ride. Right? We don't have no power. We don't have no resources. Even the party that we're supposed to be for, right? Like, they don't pay attention to us. So where's our political power? Right? Like I said, just as a testing ground, you want to prove to me that black people are the backbone of the Democratic Party? Okay, you don't have to go out and vote for Trump. Just tell the Democrats that gun control is off the table and see if they take it off the table. There isn't a single thing that the Democrats want to do because it's a Democratic agenda, not a black agenda. There isn't a single thing that the Democrats want to do that black people are able to tell them to take off the table, and they'll actually take it off the table. You can't, if you want to argue, well, we can't get them to do what we want. Oh, okay, then try to get them to not do something that you don't want. You can't do that. You can't, like, again, if you can't do either one, if you can't tell them not to do something or you can't tell them to do something, then you're invisible. You're invisible. You know what I'm saying? You got 40 some odd million black people in this country. There's more black people in America than there are in Canada, and black people can't get anything done with the Democratic Party. Again, this goes all the way back to what Stephen A. Smith said years ago, that he would like to see black people. Well, he said vote for the Republicans for one election. I say sit on your hands for one election. Let the numbers come out. Let the numbers speak and say this is the lowest turnout that we have ever had with African Americans. We got to regroup. Now, I'm saying if the Democrats don't regroup, if they say, oh, well, forget the blacks, we got the Mexicans and the Hispanics instead, like Ann Coulter said years ago. I mean, she said it. She said that's why they're dropping the blacks and picking up the Hispanics, right? Hispanics are, I believe, 17% of the population, and black people, somewhere anywhere from 12 to 14% of the population. So Hispanics already outnumber us, especially with their weird ass racially ambiguous racial categorization, where you got Hispanics that are actually white, but somehow whatever, Hispanic and all that. It don't even make any sense. Don't get me started on that. But this is where we are. But anyway, let me eat my breakfast. I'm hungry. Yeah, I need to start my day. So that's my video. SWP out.